Hello, and welcome to this week's weekly roundup. My name is Rosaldo, and now let's begin the news. New UK passports issued from December will feature King Charles' coat of arms on the cover. The updated design will also showcase natural landscapes from all four UK nations inside the documents. This is the first full redesign in 5 years and includes updated security features with the latest anti-forgery technology. Existing passports with the late Queen's coat of arms will remain valid until their expiry date. The King's name has been on the inside of pages since 2023, but his coat of arms with the Tudor crown is a new feature on the cover. New analysis from the UCU suggests that UK universities have announced over 12,000 job cuts in the last year, with 4 in 10 English institutions now facing a financial deficit. While the Universities and Colleges Employers Association call its recent 1.4 pay offer the only prudent option given the financial crisis, the UCU, which will now vote on UK-wide strike action later this month, describes the cuts as brutal, and staffs are demoralised, exhausted and furious with the students being poorly served. The union argues that only stable government funding can address the sector's financial challenges, while the government points to last year's tuition fee increase and promised new reforms. Renewable energy, primarily solar power, became the world's leading electricity source in the first half of the year, meeting all global demand growth. This success, however, reveals a global divide where developing nations led by China and India cut fossil fuel use due to explosive growth in cheap solar and wind, while developed nations like the US and EU increased their reliance on fossil fuels. This contrast is highlighted by the IEA halving its US renewable growth forecast, underscoring the different approaches of the two global powers, as China dominates clean tech exports like EVs and batteries, and the US emphasizes oil and gas. Yeldho Mor 2025 is happening this year on the 6th of December at Wigan. Registration's now open, so make sure to sign up for the event. During the MSOC annual conference held on the 27th and 28th of September 2025, the UK North Mariam Vanada Samajam presented a cheque of £1,500 to His Beatitude Yeldho Mor Baselios Bavas in the presence of the Vanada Samajam President, His Grace Isaac Mor Baselios and their Vice President, Reverend Father Sano Matthew. This contribution will support the construction of homes for 3 families in Kerala. The presentation took place in the presence of Mrs. Beena Thomas, the Secretary, Mrs. Leela Baby, the Trustee, Dr. Sajida Priyesh, the Joint Secretary, Mrs. Bindu Jose, the Central Zone Coordinator, and Mrs. Binti Ebi, the North Zone Coordinator. They also presented a cheque of £7,500 as the first instalment towards the Diocese Building Fund. Churches across the UK, including St Thomas JSOC London, St Mary's JSOC Manchester and St Mary's JSOC Liverpool, celebrated the 340th feast of Mor Baselios Yeldho. Alongside this, St John's JSOC Hereford celebrated the feast with the presence of UK Patriarchal Vicar, His Grace Isaac Mor Baselios. Our Patriarchal Vicar also graced his presence at Mor Baselios Yeldho JSOC Bristol for a Tri-Mass. Mor Baselios JSOC Derby celebrated the feast with Holy Qurbana, led under the presence of MJSSA Director Reverend Father Akil Joy and Vicar Reverend Father Peter Kuriakos. St Ignatius Congregation Chester have celebrated the Feast of Ignatius on the 10th and 11th of October. The Holy Qurbana was led by His Grace Isaac Mor Baselios Bavas. St Thomas JSOC Londonderry held their Vacation Bible School on the 11th of October with the theme, I Will Rejoice in the Lord. St Ephrem JSOC Cardiff will have their Perunnal Maha Maham on the 17th and 18th of October with a Tri-Mass led by Reverend Father Nithil Mamel, Vicar Father Eldos KG Karagopalli and Assistant Vicar Father Anish Gavai. On September 20th, JSOC Mansfield celebrated Onam. Kids to adult all participated in fun-filled Onam games. Vika Father Kuriakos led the Onam celebrations that included a delicious Onam Satya for everyone. Mariam Vanad Samajam, Tirawajanatanalil, this week was presented by Mrs. Sini Biju from St. Mary's, JSOSC Leicester. That is all for this week's MSOC Weekly Roundup. Thanks for tuning in.